Hi, beautiful Capricorn. This is Mary Ellen coming to you from Moonrise Cottage for your May 2018 Soul Tarot reading. Can you believe that it's May? I feel like winter ended 2 days ago and already we're halfway through the year. Kind of astounding. So for everybody who's new, welcome. If you're just arriving here at Moonrise Cottage, I am a clairvoyant person. I'm an intuitive channeler, and with a wide array of attributes that I've been blessed with. It's really wonderful to meet all the new folks who are arriving here at Moonrise Cottage, says Spirit. And I am starting with the image of the cards. So for the folks who are returning viewers and subscribers, hey, welcome back. It's great to be here with you again, as always. I'm starting with the image of the cards, as I've been commanded to do when the year started. So take a look into the cards. We're going to jump in. I'm going to toggle over and say hi. Hey, everybody. I really don't have any announcements. There's a lot of stuff brewing here, and there's a lot of stuff brewing with you, Spirit says. There's going to be some things unfolding. The winds of change are blowing through my life, for sure, and I know through everybody else's because of everything that's going on. Check your astrology. As you go along with these readings. I'm not an astrologer. I do watch, and I have an inkling because things come to me. So check it out. More healing, really deep, and change going on, sometimes in surprising ways. So if you want a reading or a healing session, if you want to join the live stream, click on the link below the video from my website, moonrisecottagesoultarot.com. It's also on the channel photo. Just click on it. It'll take you right to the website. Everything is there. I've made it as straightforward and easy as possible. You can book your reading from there based on your schedule. You'll get an email to confirm and a reminder email the day before your reading, okay? So I'm going to toggle back. Let's jump right in. Spirit has asked me to do just a brief review. There's something coming in the month of June, some pivot point, Spirit says. So I'm just going to do a very, very brief pictorial review. So Spirit's asking, just look into the photographs, look into the cards to see what the journey has been up to this point. And coming through to the end of May, we will be pivoting, apparently. There's February. Back in the beginning of the year, energy swirling. Look at the top row of cards. And on the soul level, just coming to a place of balance and harmony and growth. The winds of change beginning to blow. And on the human level, movement and discussion on the bottom row of cards. Deep discussion under the light of the full moon. And you know what? That card has been here following along with us. It's here again today as the outcome card for the month of May. So there's been a discussion, a progression about the energy moving forward and the type of journey that you've been having in order to be released into that which is your destiny. And Capricorn, we've been talking about that since last year. So here are the cards for March. Interesting that the theme goes forward and deepens. More prophecy, more ability to be standing in your place in order for the energy to evolve. And the center row of cards is talking about the turning of destiny. The first card over the top is the adventure of art, where we see this gentleman with the harp in his hands and the spiral of destiny hanging in the sky above his head because of the journey he had to take. And that's what the reading was talking about. And standing to the right of that is the outcome card. We see the beautiful adventure of skill. So a lot of journeying for you, Capricorn. And if you look into the cards, you can see the story of those journeys. Here we arrive on the heels of that adventure, taking you forward out of the month of March into the month of April, where you ponder your past and your future and your present, Spirit says. And more balancing of energy, another round of prophecy, actually 2 prophecy cards in this reading. And on the human realm, going really deep, preparing yourself and coming to a place where you're standing in the moment before you put your hands on the sword of victory. Becoming able to stand as the balancer of harmony because of the winds of change in your life. You're coming into the capacity to be able to balance all of the change and stand in oneness with it. Spirit's talking about raising your arms up in exaltation and being able to understand the swirl of change and the purpose of it. And of course, it has to do with your soul journey. If you see on the center row on the far left, that's the bridge card. What stands below it is a foundation card, the foundation of the art of spiritual seeking and becoming one with the sacred realm in order to see what is meant to be known. It's a beautiful foundation leading into this bridge of a soul journey. And that's what the purpose of going into the sacred hut for 24 hours, to lie and repose and meditate and ponder, it's exactly for the purpose of taking a soul journey. And the journey that your soul has been on is returning to the self. So look directly above on the far left top row. That is a major arcana card. That would be the Hermit in the traditional tarot. Coming into a place of wisdom in the wilderness of your own life. Everything you've been through, Capricorn. And next to that, again, sacred dialogue in the light of the moon. Allowing the river of inspiration and knowledge to flow into you on the aperture of the moon because you have become a touchstone for yourself. Wisdom. Being able to trust yourself now after all these many battles and journeys. And standing next to that beautiful dialogue of art, which was in the reading last month, the previous month, we see a prophecy about the coming of knowledge, the augury of knowledge. And again, an image of the apertures of the moon and what it is to touch the stone, the sacred stone, the Leophale stone of destiny, in order to become activated and actuated as a human being, having been transformed, and able to allow that sacred river of knowledge to illuminate your literal being and shine it upon the earth in order to attain a form of liberation, the liberation of your devotion to your being and to the type of soul travel that you are meant to be having in these days, Spirit says. Astounding to me. And here we are in May. Spirit's talking about pivot points. There was a lot of chatter about that coming through for Sagittarius as well. The very first card in this beautiful reading for today is the Woman of Battle. And I want to remind you of one thing. Take a look back real quickly. There's April. Do you see in the center row, the 2 cards in the middle have to do with the energy that's coming through from Spirit, the light and theme for the reading, and the aspect in which you stand. So we see this beautiful woman of skill, the judgment of skill. Having come through that journey that we were just talking about, you come to this place, kind of a peaceful place where you just rest and you think about everything that has come to pass. And your journey transformed because you can't probably tell from that illustration. The woman sitting next to the pond, her shoes are blue. She is transforming. Her walk has changed forever. And she comes to a place of rest. Interesting. Here is the Spirit card for May. There's that same woman, Spirit says, transformed into the fullness of herself. She is the woman of battle. And there are the winds of change blowing through her hair. She's been through her sacred journey. She holds her spear, her personal power in her hands, and she is open to that which is going to come. And she looks at the journey that she is about to take. It's really interesting. She's been through her initiation. She has her sacred amulet. around her neck. And the mythology of this woman is she is often the first one into the gap. She's very clear. She's very mature. She holds a lot of wisdom now. And she does not hesitate. There's something about not just the feminine aspect of this card, the energy that she holds in this moment, in the light of the full moon, which is literally today. Okay, so let's toggle back so you can see. That's the spirit theme, the message the spirit wants to talk with you about, is coming into this place because of all your travel. Here's the place in which you stand. Remember that guy? He's been in the reading a bunch. All right, there you are, Cappy, standing in the natural world. Very mature, very wise. Look how long the beard is. A long journey to become the touchstone of wisdom inside yourself for your journey, as a result of your journey and going forward. The counselor of truth is the place into which you have arrived. There are things that you understand, that you just know, that are embedded in your being now. It's a really beautiful notation. And the first card on the human realm, no surprise to me, whatsoever, because of the way things have been going forward. And last year, all the discussion about kings and all of those things, the realm in which you walk. Here we have the beautiful goddess. This is a prophetess. Her job was to predict the lineage of kings. You can't tell by this illustration, but in mythology, she sits in a crystal throne and pours out the wisdom and the passion from her heart chakra into a bowl to share with others. The prophecy that comes forward from her being. She has this beautiful jewel-encrusted barrel of water. Abundance, life energy, truth, Spirit says, tranquility. That's the first card on your human walk this month. It's very interesting to me that she is here because last year there was an enormous amount of discussion about all the kings and being in the realm of the king. And here she is to remind you that there is a continuing prophecy coming forward about your human existence because of the nature of a Capricorn and the fact that you have Pluto stationed in your first house. With this lineage, with this prophecy about the lineage, we see right next to her the very first card in the major arcana of this deck. That is the Decider of Will. And the image of the great god Dagda of the Celtic peoples. Highly activated at the will center, beautiful male energy, literally taking the prophecy and having the will and the ability to move it forward because you have become the touchstone of wisdom in your own life. And this sits right below the Counselor of Truth. There is something very powerful. You are coming into your time of power. I've been talking about it for a long time, about the type of shift and change and evolution and transformation that you're going through. But you've come into this place now. If we see the woman of battle standing over the top of the reading, looking into the Counselor of Truth, a message there from Spirit about the strength in which you stand now. And it's fertile. It's a feminine image. So there is fertility and more growth. And of course, given that discussion about those first two cards, I'm not surprised at all to see standing next to the Decider of Will, the Quest of Knowledge. Of course that's what you've been on. And there's this gentleman who's come into this place where he is in touch, reflecting, Spirit says, the Counselor of Truth, right? A quest. This is the bowl of all sacred knowledge, okay? Another cauldron, if you will, another sacred bowl. This person has been transformed. Still traveling with passion, like a Capricorn does. Reaching the mountaintop, Capricorn, you get the metaphor, right? And you know, in a sense, that's what a Capricorn always strives for. It's not just about dominance and coming to the top and all of that sort of stereotypical Capricorn stuff. As an earth sign, part of what you want is the depth of sacred groundedness. That's what this is about. And I love that it's here in the reading in this way because it's standing, supporting, if you will, the woman of battle. It's a really amazing unfolding as we come into the pivot point of the year. Having been through the journey you've been through, and a notation, Spirit says, from the spirit realm, that you're standing in the strengthful place and you're able to have the will to go forward with your journey. As exhausted as we could expect that you might be after the journey that you've had, right? Coming to a lot of places of, Spirit says there are a lot of places of exaltation, but it's a tiring journey because it is an unending journey for you. And it's going to go forward for a couple of more years. So Spirit's talking about, just make sure to always take care of yourself. And that's what the next card speaks to. So the beautiful judgment of knowledge is in the placement of the bridge card. And, last month we had the judgment of skill. It's really interesting. Now we have the judgment of knowledge. Having come into this place of the pinnacle of knowledge for a quest and gaining the knowledge that is to be taken up in that place in your human life, it's a natural progression that we should have this type of an occurrence. I think last year this card showed up in your readings, Capricorn. It's about someone who has reached a certain pinnacle in their life, has some knowledge, has some social standing, has some wealth, etc., Spirit says. And in the background, there was a small group of people cheating this guy and, stealing from him in various ways, in secret. So he found out about it, and he had to sort of figure out, what am I going to do? What's the correct course of action? And he had to just sort of use the knowledge that he had gained, right? A judgment about what to do in these moments. And what the mythology is, he had to come to a moment where he's not really all about revenge, per se, but he had to just stand in his power and say, hey, you know what? I've become aware, and stop that. Please, stop doing that. And give me back what belongs to me, and we'll be good. Let's just come to a new place together. And of course, those people who were intent on doing nefarious things were not able to rise to the occasion. What happened was they were turned into beasts and vanquished into the forest to live out their days with their ill intent on the outside, so it could clearly be seen. So they got turned into, whatever that is, some kind of beast, and vanquished. It was an important moment for him to come to. It's about the way in which you wield your power. That's what this is talking about, in a very personal way. And it's interesting. Let me toggle back, because it's standing right next to the counselor of truth and being a touchstone of truth in your own life, being in full command of your internal wisdom. There's apparently, this piece of the journey, coming to a place of calm, if you will, with all the knowledge that you've taken up and the strength that you have as a Capricorn. Very powerful individuals, most of the Capricorns I've met. There's a way to wield your power that is just and clear and firm and respectful of the power that you have, in order to be present in your own life fully, no matter what the challenge might be. So there's some chatter coming through about that, about the way in which you are to be present now. And when we see the Woman of Battle and the Counselor of Truth as the two cards opening the reading, that gives inference, Spirit says, to the type of discussion that Spirit wants to have with you, Capricorn, going forward, about your energy and about your power and about how you stand on the earth when there is a challenge, because we're human. There are always going to be challenges, right? But you have the will to go forward. You continue on this beautiful quest. It is part of the prophecy of your being, of your experience, having come through to this realm as a Capricorn in these days, Spirit says. The first card on the Spirit realm, just above the Judgment of Knowledge, is another notation of a warrior. This is the warrior of skill. It's an interesting placement to me. If you look at the left side column, on the bottom we see the revelation of art, all about prophecy of the lineage of kings. And a notation above that about, the judgment of how you wield your power and what you do when you're faced with a challenge. Above that, the warrior of skill. So Spirit says, if you just think about that as a progression, it's impactful in a way that Spirit wants you to try to help you understand your being and your ability. There's something humbling about it, Spirit says. Yes, as a Capricorn, you have battles, but it is the way in which you stand in the center of your life while the challenges arise. And to meet your challenges in a certain way, Spirit's saying, hey, be this guy. He's powerful. Look at him. He's got sustenance. He's got magic in his hands. He also is holding his personal power. And he has the means to go forward. He has the horse. And, go forward in a way that's very ethical, with purity. Because you own yourself. You own your power. There's nothing that you have to do other than be who you are. And what he does is he responds to sacred impulse that comes to him. So he's known in the mythology of the deck. He's kind of an impulsive guy, right? But impulse in a positive light. He just stands in his life. When you have a challenge, when somebody's giving you grief or there's something going on that you don't like, and you inside of yourself, as your own wisdom holder, the counselor of truth in your own life, go first to that place. Have some judgment about the knowledge that you've come into. Be calm. Understand what it is that the challenge is really about. Very deep down, it's about you and how you show up in conflict in your own life. When you come to the middle of that, you meet the counselor of truth. That is your being, right? That is where the inspiration will come from. That will help you understand how to go forward. That's what this message is about. And I'm an earth sign, for those of you that don't know. And so part of my walk, along with Taurus, we reflect the Capricorn journey because you are the cardinal earth sign. And let me tell you something. The month of April, extraordinarily challenging for me, kind of in this way, reflective. Pretty amazing stuff going on. And what had to happen, well, just what I was talking about, Spirit says. I had to dig deep. Rather than react, I had to respond. And so that was my goal. And I had to keep my mouth shut. I have Aries arising, so I just want to, I was like, no, calm down. This woman, Spirit's laughing at me. Okay. See her? She just wants to take care of business. Don't mess with her. That's how I felt, right? As the Aries in me. I was like, no. Just come to a place of love and understanding. Allow yourself to take some time. It took weeks to pry myself away from the notion of battle to the notion of how can I bring love to this situation? What if I was really acting from a place of love? What would that woman do? And I was able to allow myself to behave in that way, to respond to the sacred impulse that comes from within me, rather than the human reaction that is in my cellular memory because of my life story and development, whatever, right? It takes time to get beyond yourself. It's true for me. In the moments when I am able to do that, beautiful things happen. And astounding things are unfolding because I was able and willing to respond with love. Spirit's talking about this card. Okay, the decider of will. How are you going to use your will going forward? So the challenges that come are there for our purpose, Spirit says. The sacred impulse will come to you. Stand true and quiet. Stand firm. You don't have to cause a ruckus. Stand firm in yourself. In the place of truth that you really know, because nobody has to tell you. We all know, right? Most of the time we don't respond to that. So this is a pivotal month for some reason, Spirit's been saying. There's something really important about this. Stand quietly with yourself. When a conflict arises, go into the place of the counselor of truth, that is your spot this month. That's the place you reside. Take your conflicts there. And you know, what's interesting is they stand on the table like that. No, it's like this. Okay? Looking, this card, this insult, Spirit says, looking into the counselor of truth and finding the wisdom for the moment in that place. Let me toggle back so you can see. Interesting that sort of Spirit is talking about this notion and wanting you to know going forward from April, and perhaps some acknowledgement about the challenges that you had in April and how you were able to move through them. Really interesting. Going forward from the warrior of skill, we see the beautiful protector of Lord. That's the impulse. That's the world card. The sun card in traditional tarot. So, you know, that sacred impulse, that is always the place to which we all seek to arrive, in a sense. Something that speaks to being in a place of just basic joy and happiness in the light of the sun. Being able to respond to those sacred impulses, to do that which is ethical, that which creates healing and partnership. When faced with a conflict, it's so easy to react in a negative way. Spirit's talking to me about my personality set and to you as a reflection, right? You know, calm down. Calm down. Take some days to be angry. It's fine. There's information in that. Stay with it. Do not entirely seek to release it out of you. You're a powerful being, Capricorn. Think it through. Sit with it. Understand what your heart wants. Eventually, the sacred impulse will strike you, and you'll be able to go straight into it in a state of joy, releasing that which no longer serves you and vanquishing into the forest, if you will, of your life so that it doesn't affect you. And that brings you into this moment of standing in the light, the simple joy of standing in the sun with abundance. You know, there's a notation of the apple tree in the light of this card. And that is the way in which you are changed. Because by using that pathway, you come into the place of standing on the sacred ground of the ancients and turning the spiral of your life in a way that brings abundance and joy and self-knowledge, transforming your life because of your own decision-making and your own sacred impulse and the ability to respond to that, of course, because this is the quest. No mistake at all when these things arise. It's interesting to me how this is going forward. And the thing that I love about this, pardon me, in terms of your reading, is that the very next card, after the protector of lore, is, and they sort of, the warrior of skill, passing through this type of movement, standing in the beautiful light of the sun, of course, brings you to the guardian of the gateway, the sacred goddess. That is the high priestess. She is the guardian of truth. And as such, she stands at the gateway for the next part of your journey, guided by the sacred mother. You see the flow of the river behind all the shift and change that's happening? So, you know, as we come to the midpoint of the year, we are standing at a gateway. It's become clear to me because of the way the readings have come out. This woman has been in a lot of the readings. There's a lot going on as we have joined our energies, because we've done our work, creating the sacred pattern, okay, weaving the threads of the tapestry. don't forget, we are in communication with each other. It is that which you can utilize. As you face your own challenges, it affects us all. Something very powerful in terms of standing at this gateway. In order to prepare to pass through, first we must stand in front of the guardian of truth. And what I love about her presence here is that your energy inside this reading for the month of May is the counselor of truth. That is where your being rests. And apparently there are going to be some challenges. Something that's just really going to push your buttons, I would say, to give you an opportunity to experience yourself, utilizing the depth of what you know inside of you, to face whatever challenge may arise, to give yourself the benefit of the experience of actually acting. Okay, there's a phrase coming through, and sometimes translating to English is, all right, let me try. Acting of yourself, as yourself, within yourself, from within yourself, in the way that I was speaking about. And what I love about this, if you look at just the center row, pardon me, of cards, that's the core of the reading. The outcome card, once again, we see this beautiful notation of the dialogue of art, the art of being in touch with the spirit realm. And you know, last month in April, I'm going to toggle over so you can see it. The counselor of truth and the dialogue of art were on the spirit realm, on the top row of cards. That is what your soul progress was about. That's why we were going so deep, coming into this place of balance in the winds of change, in the moment just before you put your hands on the sword of victory, on the human realm, and look at the spirit row. The counselor of truth, the dialogue of art, and a prophecy about becoming activated and actuated in your own life in order to touch the stone of victory. So 2 thoughts in that reading about victory. And here we are in May, the counselor of truth, standing in the position in the reading that is about you, how you stand in your life. And the dialogue of art has moved into the outcome position for the reading. Because you have come to the gateway of these experiences, ready to pass through. And today, on the day of the full moon, Spirit wants again to just let you know in a very clear way this dialogue about sitting in this place where the river of knowledge can literally flow into you on the aperture of the moon. Sorry, wrong toggle. Look, that's what's happening, Spirit says. Just in an illustrative way, that's part of the reason the card is here. In the light of the moon, the river of knowledge will illuminate your being. This is a story about Merlin and his sister. They were very devoted to each other in their lifetimes. Merlin had to go through a process of reintegration with himself in order to transform for the next phase of his journey. He lost his way, and he had what we would call PTSD, and he became very dissociated. He had a dissociative disorder, Spirit says, okay? Separating from himself. There was a lot of work to reintegrate. He had help. His sister built the sacred tower for him so that he could gaze out upon his life and upon the land from as many perspectives as possible and have many ways to enter and exit. And we see the light of the moon entering the tower and exiting from one of the doorways, flowing into Merlin and his sister as they joined their energies for the journey that they were both on together. And we see Merlin transforming. Spirit says to me, see this woman? Okay? There's not a mistake. Whoops, it's this way. That they're sitting like this in the reading. The reflection is a message. There is feminine energy leading us forward. A fertile time for this male-informed energy pattern to regenerate itself and come into its real source of power, that's all that messaging about, the trials and tribulations and the way we respond with the male pattern of our energy. I have a lot of that, right, because of my Aries and etc. Woo! Sometimes it's hard to get my arms around it, so to speak, because it has its own form of energy moving forward. Sorry. There we go. Capricorn, once again, beautiful to see the transition that you're making and these nuances that are arising now because you have the capacity to delve deep into the places of nuance in your life, in your existence, that have to do with wielding your power as it is, because you've become the counselor of truth in your life. And you have the sacred amulet. You've made the commitment. And based on that, you go forward. It informs your will about the prophecy that has been coming through all along with this quest of knowledge that you've been on through the trials and tribulations that you've been meeting with Capricorn, with Pluto rather, in your first house. Beautiful transition and deeper travel into the mysterious places inside of you, Capricorn. The dialogue of art continues in sacred alignment with the, Spirit's talking about the minutia of your journey. So, because you've come through all these major battles and you're still standing and you've had your amulet placed around your neck, you do come to the gateway. And now you're able to focus on the deeper things that perhaps have been lost on you because of the way you've been journeying. You now have the capacity to begin to sift through, the minutia of your being in order to come to this gateway, this pivot point that is arriving, I think, in June. Something's going to happen. We'll talk about that next month. Capricorn, have a wonderful month. Thank you for spending time with me. As always, thanks for all your love and support. I'm really grateful, and I'm eager to hear your stories. If you so desire, you feel comfortable, put a little something on the thread below the video, and I will look forward to speaking with you again in June. Thanks, everyone. And don't forget, Capricorn, you are your purpose.